She's good in A Star
God.
Is Born. She's not a bad actress. She's just everywhere, and I just don't like her.
If I wanted to watch something Joker related, I'm going to go watch The Killing Joke. I'm going to go watch Under the Red Hood. I'm going to go watch something that actually matters to the Batman universe. Even with it being good, it would not have made the money that it did. And because of that,
not.
yeah, because of that, like I got no respect for this. Like I'm so over Hollywood just trying to profit off of nostalgia.
Renegade Online.
We've got Joker Folie, Deux. Opening weekend box office tracking drops 44% following mixed reviews and poor early sales.
Interesting.
Wait, I
It
thought
is
it's been out like for months.
No, it comes out
No,
next week, I believe.
I think it's
okay?
yeah, first week of October, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it's next week.
I was
next
going to ask.
Thursday. Yes. So it says originally shared at the end of August, they predicted the film would gross between 120 to 150. I believe that's opening weekend. Specifically, it would hit 138. Yeah, and it's opening weekend. Furthermore, he shares that the film will likely gross between 277 million and 404 million, with a more precise prediction of 350 million in its entire domestic run at the box office.
Wow.
Of course. What do we know what the domestic run was of the first one? I mean, I know it hit
Like
a
a
billion
billion.
worldwide.
I thought it was more heavily
no.
loaded to the domestic side.
I did too.
I think it
have
was
some
like
more-
900 million, I thought, on this side.
Well-
I could be wrong.
Well, no, the total box office for Joker was just over $1 billion.
Yes.
So I think domestically it probably did probably in the neighborhood of half that. I'm going to pull it up in just a minute. But there has been some.
It was actually international where it did really well. Domestic was
okay.
335. International was 743, bringing their worldwide total to over
There
a
we go.
billion.
Hold on. What was domestic again, Steph?
335.
335. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're predicting 350.
And this is scroll back up a second. Let me see exactly. I just want to make sure. Sean Robbins, box office theory. Okay, originally shared at the end of August, he predicted the film would gross between 120 and 150, and more specifically, shared he believes it would hit 138 its opening weekend. Okay, so 138 million its opening weekend. Furthermore, he shared the film would likely gross between 277 and 404, with a more precise 350 in its entire domestic box office run. Okay, so again, that's based on pretty much what the first Joker did, like you said. The issue with that, of course, is there has been an absolute gonzo amount of ticket price inflation since the first Joker movie came out.
Yes.
That's true. That's
the
true.
Box office ticket prices on average were up. When did Joker came out? 2018 or 19?
19. It was October of 19.
Okay, so movie ticket prices at this point, with all of the inflation that we've had, because movie ticket prices don't track the CPI. You know, it's like education, higher education, or medical expenses. They way outpace inflation, okay? Regular CPI inflation. Movie ticket prices are up on average, especially for big budget movies, big blockbuster movies, 35 to 40% since then. So effectively, if the Joker 2 here turns in the same dollar value in its box office run today as it did back in 2019, they've lost a lot of butts and seats. So if you took the Joker from 2019 and it came out right now and did the same number of butts and seats, but with ticket prices in 2024, that movie would pull in about $1.4 billion. It would do more than Deadpool and Wolverine, to give you an idea. Okay. That's what we're talking about. And to show you here, why does it not? Here we go. Joker. Just want to make sure I have the right data on here. Let's see where the international stuff came from as we talk about this. So, yes, 728 internationally. What was the biggest market? The UK, 72 million. 72 million in the UK is astonishing. None of the returns internationally came from China. I don't think it ever opened there. But Brazil, Australia, France, Germany, those are big numbers for those countries. Mexico, 43 million. Very, very good numbers. South Korea, 35 million in South Korea. That's a banger, man. That's great over there. Japan, 46 million. this really and this is why they're doing the sequel to this, because of that international audience, and that international audience isn't heavily weighted down by China, because you can do big international numbers, but if 70% of your international comes from China, you're probably screwed, because you only get about 20 to 25% of the Chinese box office back to the studio, because the Communist Party keeps the other 75. So you can do a movie in China that rakes in $200 million, but only about 40 to 50 of that is going to come back to Warner Brothers or Disney or Paramount or whatever the case is. So, yeah, based on that, now the problem is this. Let me update this. This is tracking update as of 9/20. This is from Box Office Pro. This is what they're saying right now. So this is about a week after. If we look at Joker, they're looking at an opening weekend range right now, 60 to 90 million. So that projection obviously is markedly lower than the 138 that's being expected by the other place. And I think the guy that was quoted in that article actually used to run Box Office Pro. So we got to see. But this is one of those movies that this is one of those movies here, Michelle, that I think is going to be interesting, because there should be a lot of walk-up traffic for this. That's what happened with the first Joker movie. Pre-sales,
Yes.
pre-sales
Okay.
don't happen for a movie like this.
Now,
generally.
Joker 2 did secure a China release.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's going to be
So
an advantage over the first.
That
one.
is, yes, that's the advantage of over the first one. So it did secure a China release.
Okay.
Well, and I was just kind of interested too at this, because the vibe I've gotten, that's why I was interested with you ladies here tonight. The vibe I've kind of gotten from like talking to people is it feels like there's more women interested in Joker than men, because the men seem to be a little definitely thrown off by the musical aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you
see that.
ladies at? Are you guys excited to see Joker? Or are you not excited to see Joker?
Joker's
I'm
interesting.
kind of-
because
Yeah, go ahead.
Joker's interesting because I liked the first one.
I do too.
Yeah, I liked the first one, but because they're bringing in Lady Gaga and adding that musical aspect, me as someone who likes musicals, I was a little turned off by that. And it's also a movie that didn't warrant a sequel, and we know that the only reason it's going to get a sequel is because the first one, who the studio didn't really have much faith in it, and it only had like a $55 million budget, made $1 billion. So this is going to be very studio heavy. I don't know how much studio involvement is going to be in the second movie, but this is something that is purely done because the first one made $1 billion and they're trying to get another banger. They also have like James Gunn's DC universe that's just is starting out, and that's been given a lot of press. And so a lot of people are wondering, okay, well, this is another DC movie. This is Joker. So where is this going to fit if he's going to be dumping all of this? And you don't know where this fits unless you're like, well, in tune to like all the news that's coming out, and you know that this is going to be something different and separate from James Gunn's DC, but you're not going to know the distinction, so it's very confusing for just general audiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see how it's gonna do. I liked the first one. This one, not so much. Like the trailers just didn't grab me. I wasn't as interested, even though like Lady Gaga's in it, and I think that Lady Gaga herself is just a polarizing character. So or not character, but person, celebrity. So
I think character was the right phrase for her.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
perfect way to describe her.
I know.
It's not meant to be insulting. She is a character. She
She is a
plays a
character,
role.
yeah.
Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
good at it.
So how many of us here are going to go see it opening weekend? I'm definitely seeing it opening weekend for the channel, but I would have seen it opening weekend had I not had a channel. So who else?
I honestly haven't decided yet, to be honest. I'm on the fence. I'm with Steph on a lot of what she said. Like, I liked the first Joker a lot. It blew me away. I was taken aback by it. I was like, I did not expect this to be so dark and also to be so good. Like, it was so good. It didn't need a sequel. Joaquin Phoenix didn't want to do a sequel. I think people are forgetting that. He didn't want to. And then the script was good enough that, so he says, the script was good enough that he's like, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. Lady Gaga throws me off. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her music. I don't like her personality. She was okay in A Star Is Born, but that's mostly because they tried to fake Bradley Cooper and her being in this relationship, whatever. They were good chemistry. That's like her one thing. I'm not a big Lady Gaga person. I don't think she needs to be everywhere. She drives me bonkers.
I have it.
So I
You know,
don't know. I want to
I
see it,
haven't
but
seen
Lady
her
Gaga.
act in anything yet, so I have no real reference for Lady Gaga's
She's good in A
acting.
Star Is Born. She's not a bad
Okay.
actress. She's just everywhere, and I just don't like her.
I
She's
don't.
kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
My-
I
my
don't really
biggest-
like her the image she puts out, and I don't listen to her music, but I do think she has a good voice. I really enjoyed the song she did, "Hold My Hand" for Maverick. That one was good.
Mm-hmm.
She does have a great voice, but I'll be interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
my
I'm
biggest issue
intrigued.
with all of this is if I wanted to watch something Joker related, I'm gonna go watch The Killing Joke. I'm gonna go watch Under the Red Hood. I'm gonna go watch something that actually matters to the Batman universe. They created a
Exactly.
series to profit off of a name, and I really do believe that had the first movie not been marketed as a DC Joker, it wouldn't have gotten even with it being good, it would not have made the money that it did. And
Oh,
because of
definitely
that,
not.
yeah, because of that, like I got no respect for this. Like I'm so over Hollywood just trying to profit off of nostalgia. Make something new or just just stop. Please stop. That's all I got.
Make it stop.
Well, I just, like I said, I still can't get over the fact that they're kind of doing this as a musical, which is just so jarring.
It's interesting.
But then again, here's the thing, is that the musicals that come out in the theater, if they're done right, and if they hit the right
Greatest
notes,
Showman.
no pun intended. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, Greatest
Greatest
Showman's a great
Showman.
example.
The
Yeah.
Greatest
And
Showman.
Greatest Showman was
love that movie.
exactly what I projected was going to happen with Wonka when it came out. last
Wonka was
year.
really good too, though. That was a movie that was a good musical. I enjoyed. I was actually surprised by Wonka.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah.
have high hopes for it, and I was surprised by it.
I
But that was a musical. Like it
Yeah.
Yeah.
was
I have read.
understandably a musical. This doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense unless it's.
It
I mean, unless
depends.
Harley is like doing her thing, but that's more '90s cartoon Harley. Like I can
Yeah,
see '90s
exactly.
cartoon
Like we know
Harley.
that Harley
She-
does sing. You know,
Yeah,
Margot, we've
she
seen
sang
it
on
even
stage
with
a whole
Margot
bunch of
Robbie.
times.
We've seen it, but
Yeah.
I don't think but Joker's going to Joaquin Phoenix's character is going to take part in that as well.
yeah, it's not the right vibe.
I thought
No.
they said that this was like Harley in name, but it's not Harley Quinn.
I think they've already kind of said
I've heard
that.
mixed things on that. Yeah, I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. I've seen some people who are like, "Oh my god, the musical stuff took me out of it." Other people are like, "It's not what you think. It's not like a Broadway musical." Of course, they can't like give a lot of detail for whatever reason, but they're like, "It's not a full blown musical. Like you're not going to watch, like The Greatest Showman or something like that. It's not like that." People think musical and they think like, "Oh, we're gonna go and watch." Whatever,
See,
the producers or whatever. But then other people have said, no, it's absolutely like that. So I don't know. Does it depend on your definition? I have no idea. It's
See, I'm
all
wondering if
weird.
people are saying like she's not Harley because in the way that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker like isn't considered Joker. He's just like a different
So maybe
sort of take on a Joker. It takes place in Gotham. It's just this guy. But I think it's in that same vein. But she is Harley. She's just not going to be the Harley that like we all know and recognize. Same with, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
There's not going to be any, "Oh, Mr. J, you're so
Yeah,
pretty."
yeah,
There's not
pretty
gonna be
much.
any of that shit.
None of that.
Yeah, what are they? I think they call this a Neverworld like story.
Elseworld. It's an
Elseworld.
Elseworld.
Okay, there we go.
story.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
largely this movie, the success long term is going to hinge almost entirely on how good and memorable the music is, and that's key.
Well,
for
and
a
word
musical,
of mouth
right?
too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you look at Greatest Showman, if you
Yeah.
look at even Wonka, neither of those movies, especially Greatest Showman, because nobody knew what the hell it was, they didn't start out with a bang. I mean, Greatest Showman did like $8 million its first weekend, and it somehow legged out to like 450 million globally.
Oh,
And
it looked
was
dead on
insane.
arrival, and then it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like kept
And then
going.
it boomed out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that one surprised a lot of people too. It's just like, well, let's see what this is about. And then it survived off of like word of mouth. Honestly, that's how that
Mhm.
movie did.
And
Same
Christmas
with
break.
Wonka. Same with Wonka. I think that relied heavily on word of mouth as
Yep.
well. Mm-hmm.
It did. You're right, Steph, and that's my point. Is what I want to try to get across to everybody watching is do not make the mistake of calling what this movie is going to do after the first weekend, because it'll be wrong. Movies like this, if it goes the way of A Greatest Showman, and when I say goes the way of, I mean if it attracts and builds out in the same fashion with audiences that Wonka did and Greatest Showman did, this thing could start with a $50 million opening weekend domestically and another $75 million internationally. And normally you'd look at a movie like this and you'd go, well, on a best case scenario, it's going to go 3x. This movie's going to finish at, $400 to $500 million globally, and we're done here, kids. That's not going to be the case here, because movies like this are very sneaky. They will just keep going, and especially, and this is the other thing to remember: when did Greatest Showman come out? When did Wonka come out?
Christmas.
They all came out in the fourth quarter.
Christmas.
Right? They all came out in the fourth quarter. This one's coming out a little bit earlier, right? It's not coming out Thanksgiving, Christmas, but it's coming out in the fourth quarter. This movie could surprise. It could just hang in theaters for 90 days, making $10 million, $12 million a week domestically.
You know what, Valiant? Because outside of just little horror movies that will probably come out, you have Joker, and then you have nothing basically until Thanksgiving weekend with Gladiator and Wicked.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.